furious that the Victorian coroner has recommended the government should set up a trial of a safe injecting room, although so far the political backing doesn't seem to be there. As James Oaten reports, that's angering families touched by the heroin epidemic.
Aaron was a beautiful child. He was quiet, very shy. The way he cared, yeah. Even through his darkest days, he cared, and that's why he stayed. He stayed for us.
On the surface, Aaron Short had everything going for him. Young, handsome and passionate, with a love of music and skateboarding. But his life unravelled after a simple accident at home.
He actually had an accident where he cut his arm and he was prescribed OxyContin. I didn't know what it was. I knew that it was pain management. And he's quickly learned that, because he had chronic depression, quickly learned that he could self-medicate.
It prompted a heroin addiction that Aaron battled for 8 years.
It was a way of just being numb, because it was just too overwhelming for him. He was a gentle soul and he just didn't know how to cope.
After multiple stints in rehab, Aaron felt confident he could defeat the drug. But in August 2015, he relapsed and overdosed at home after a night out with friends.
And then he came home here later that night. We had a little chat, had a very nice moment together, and we said goodnight. And it's been a living nightmare since then.
Just a year later, Aaron's best friend Sam, who also had a long battle with depression, fell victim to heroin as well.
One thing people need to understand as well is people think that drug addicts are having a good time. They're not. This isn't fun for them. That's the only thing that for a little bit of time will take the pain away. And it's worth the risk of dying. It's worth it.
Sadly, these are far from isolated cases. Victoria recorded 172 overdose deaths in 2015, the highest rate in 7 years. And the heart of the problem is in Richmond.
This is the epicentre of the drug market in Victoria, so people...
Greg Denham's been a community worker in the area for 6 years. He says the rate of heroin use is the worst he's ever seen it.
This is a popular spot because you can lock the door and then you can inject. And for example, someone's injecting here, you've got blood spots on the floor. Often when you come in here, you'll find lots of needles and syringes on the floor.
While we're talking, in little more than half an hour, at least 3 people come in to use the toilet to inject.
Well, you know, they risk overdose, of course. You know, if they're in one of those, what I call the legal public injecting facility, which is a toilet, you know, if they overdose, then they're not likely to be found.
It becomes difficult to finish our interview as heroin users interrupt, keen to express their support for a safe injecting room.
This is an area where, you know, it would...
Sorry.
About the medically supervised injecting centre.
We will be, yeah. It's on there.
My name's Nicole Manson. Do you want to get a notepad out?
Yeah.
This is North Richmond, the side of the train line. This is the illegal injecting centre for street people.
Nicole and her friend Paul take us to another nearby area commonly used to inject.
As you'll notice when you walk in, you'll see needle wrappers, needles. Here are uncut needles. They're all here, great. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
If we had a safe injecting room here, what do you think the benefits would be?
This shit won't happen no more. Like, people will go there. If they OD, they'll be saved.
Yeah, mate. Got a float return?
Yeah, sure, mate.
Unlike Sydney's King's Cross, Melbourne doesn't have a safe injecting room.
I'll grab a 10-pack to take away, please.
Sure, mate.
This means at local health clinics, Users can access clean equipment and health services, but they must inject off-site.
We have teams of people whose entire professional life is committed to maintaining the health and well-being of people who watch them die literally outside of our building.
Medical practitioners have long called for a safe injecting room in the Richmond area. Those calls are gaining traction, with the Sex Party introducing legislation to the Victorian Parliament. And now a Victorian coroner has applied her own pressure, recommending the Health Minister establish a trial. But the government's refusing to budge.
I think some politicians still consider that this is a difficult issue. I'm not sure they're right about that. I think that they have misunderstood how directly the issue of overdose affects ordinary families.
But there's just a whole big future lost. His future and our future have been cut short.
For one family, the message is clear.
I don't have a doubt in my mind that Aaron would have used the safe injecting room. If Aaron had have overdosed that night in a safe injecting room, he would still be here.